Hey everybody, Joel Penton here, founder and CEO of LifeWise Academy. Welcome back to the Vision Cast. Time for some big picture talk as well as some storytelling. The big picture segment, want to talk about the three dangerous D's. If you've been around the LifeWise universe for a while, you may have heard about the three dangerous D's. Perhaps you're new, and I will tell you about them. Several years ago, we had a board member who came to one of our meetings and was addressing our growing team. And he said, things are going so well, and we've grown to the size that his hunch was that if something were to bring down LifeWise, if something were to bring down the ministry, it wouldn't be something from the outside. It wouldn't be some sort of opposition or somebody who is, against what we were doing, but it would be something from the inside, and that we needed to really be vigilant to look out for those internal dangers. And not long after that, we, after some discussion and some reading, we kind of developed this list of the three dangerous D's, the internal dangers that we face really on a daily basis. And those three dangers are disobedience, division, and drift. And to talk just briefly about them, disobedience is personal moral failing. The truth is, as Christians, each and every day, we must be vigilant. We must be vigilant in our own personal walk. That we need to be fighting against sin, putting sin to death, that we need to be guarding our conduct, and each and every day we could fall. And so we need to be plugged into a local church body. We need to be accountable to local church leadership. We need to be plugged into relationships. We need to be in the Word. We need to be in prayer. We need to be, again, vigilant that disobedience, personal disobedience, which is always a short-term danger each and every day, doesn't bring down our own personal walk. Secondly, division, an ever-present danger in organizations, especially growing organizations, is to divide. If you know anything about the history of the Christian church, division is a big part of it. And so we are praying on a daily basis that the Lord would keep us unified, that He would keep us together, that we would not divide. We know that we're stronger together. And then thirdly, and that division danger is more of a kind of a midterm danger. It's certainly a danger every day, but that would be something that could happen more in the medium term in terms of the timeline. And then the most long-term danger would be the danger of drift. That's drifting from our mission. I heard it said not too long ago that there's really no parachurch ministry that has stayed with a gospel-centered mission that has stayed true to its mission for more than 100 years. And that's terrifying, that it is typical of gospel-centered missions to drift from their mission, to start to focus on things that aren't at the core of the gospel-centered mission. And so we are praying that the Lord would protect us and keep us safe from drift. And we are really obsessing about that as an organization. We talk about that regularly. And so our battle plan for really all of these is, number one, to be intentional, that we want to talk about these things. We want to think about these things. We want to be guarding against these things. C.S. Lewis said that the danger lies in the illusion that all is well when all is not well. And so we want to know that these dangers are ever present. And so we want to think about them and talk about them. Secondly, we want to be consistent in praying that the Lord would protect us from these dangers. We want Him to go to battle before us, Him to be guarding us each and every day. And then thirdly, we do want to focus on the big picture. What are those things that we're all driving toward? And when I say big picture, we talk a lot about why we exist. What is that shared view of reality? What are our shared beliefs that get us out of bed in the morning, that get us doing something like LifeWise? That's the why. Also the what. What is our specific vision? What are we going after? Have we been called to do here with LifeWise, taking the gospel to students across the nation? And that's the what. And then who are we that are coming together? And that's defined by our core values. What defines us, and what are those qualities that we are aspiring aspiring to. And so we focus on this big picture, why we exist, what we do, and who we are. That unifies us, that makes us be vigilant in our daily walk to guard against disobedience. It keeps us together, unified in that common mission, and it keeps us headed in the right direction, the same direction and the right direction, fighting against drift. So I hope that you will join us in being intentional and join us in being prayerful that the Lord would guard us. And on the phone to join us for our LifeWise story, I'm so grateful that we have a parent of a student in Northeastern schools. We have Tony on the phone. Tony, are you there?
I am.
Tony, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Tony,
Sure.
Tell us about how you got connected. You have a daughter in LifeWise, I hear. How did you get connected? How did you end up finding yourself enrolling your daughter?
Well, we regularly attend Poplar Ridge Church of the Brethren here in Defiance, and a few years ago, LifeWise was looking to expand to the Tenora School District. One of our church members, Pam, who we consider a friend, nice lady, was actually leading up that ministry and that charge. We went to the initial, I think it was a launch meeting to discuss the particulars about getting it started. And then, the following school year, when it was offered at Tenora, we were sure to enroll our daughter into it.
And forgive me if you just said, but at what age or what grade is your daughter?
She's 10, and this last year, Caroline was a fourth grader at Tenora.
Okay, fourth grader. And do you know what grades Tenora were serving as LifeWise in Tenora?
I think this year it was K to 6, and they're looking to expand it to 7th and 8th grade for the upcoming school year.
Okay, excellent, wonderful. Well, I know that you came prepared for a particular story. Could you share it with us?
Well, sure. It's kind of a neat experience. I don't remember what day of the week it was. It was a random weeknight. And like most of our days, it was busy, and Caroline was getting to bed too late, but around 9:30, after she had finally made it to her bedroom, she popped up and ran back to the living room and said, "Hey, Dad, Mom, I have to tell you guys what happened today." And Caroline shared how at recess, they were walking outside, and as she was walking, she noticed a little kindergartner sitting on a bench crying and alone. Caroline initially walked by her, but then she said she remembered the story about the Good Samaritan. And she turned around, sat down, talked with the girl, made her feel a little bit better. And apparently the other girls or the other kids didn't want to play with this girl for whatever reason. So Caroline gave her some comfort and then, walked the kindergartner over to her friends and tried to mediate, make the situation right. And when Caroline walked away, she said things were better and the girl was playing with her friends, and she just couldn't walk by and leave that girl sad and alone because she remembered about the story of the Good Samaritan and how, he stopped to help someone who had a need. So Caroline thought she should do the same thing. Pretty thrilled to hear, a Bible story in real life being applied by our daughter. I immediately sent a text to Pam. Hopefully it didn't keep her up. It was probably the better part of 10 o'clock by the time I did. But I had to share the story with her, and I think it was just amazing to see, at that time, 9, maybe 10-year-old girl taking a lesson, taking scripture, and applying it in her everyday life. And it's just a very edifying experience that we shared with Pam, and I guess word eventually got up to you.
Well, it is pretty exciting, to say the least, to see, putting it into practice so quickly. That's kind of what we dream about and hope and pray that the Lord would do, is that these students would not simply listen, but their hearts would be changed, and in fact their lives would be changed. We talk about the head, heart, and hands. Head, what's the information? Heart, how does it apply to the gospel? How does it point to Jesus? And ultimately hands, how does it change the way we live and transform our character? And to hear about Caroline, that she would be that her character, I think that's an outworking of her character, developing and growing, and that must certainly must, I know it makes me excited as somebody who's involved in LifeWise, but it must make you excited as a father as well. And so hats off to you and for the job you're doing with her. Overall, how have you seen Caroline's experience with LifeWise been?
Oh, we've had a very positive experience. Michelle and I were, excited to jump on board and to contribute to the ministry, from day one. Michelle's a career teacher. I'm a retired law enforcement officer and a teacher now. So we see, the negatives every day.
Yeah.
We see what happens as we've removed God from our society.
Right.
And to have an opportunity to reverse that, to bring back, some Christian principles and bring back God into people's lives, it's amazing. And to bring simple gospel lessons to children who would otherwise not hear them, how can you not get behind something like that? We're very, very grateful for LifeWise. We're very grateful for Pam. And, we're in this for the long haul.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being a supporter, for enrolling Caroline, and we've said on this Vision Cast before that LifeWise runs on sacrifice, that not a single class happens without somebody giving of their time or giving of their finances or giving of their talent. And so, Tony, thank you for everything that you've been doing, and excited to hear more and more stories about Caroline and the others in your community.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be coming.
I'm sure. Well, Tony, have a great day, and everybody watching, thanks for joining us with the Vision Cast. Have a great day.